Hello, my name is Jimmy, and I took this 2022 Mazda 3 to the track. And I want to tell you, well, basically everything about the experience. This specific model here is a 2022 turbo with the all-wheel drive. That's how it comes. It is an automatic, no manual. And as I've done a few videos on this already, I have said in the past that it's kind of like a Mazda Speed 3, well, a new version of it. I mean, it has a turbo 4 motor. It has more power. It kind of is, but Mazda says it isn't. It's not a successor to the Mazda Speed. And I get it because, I mean, it's nowhere near as sporty. You don't get a 6-speed manual. There's no limited slip diff. It's not exactly, well, the Mazda Speed way. I'm sure they could do something like that if they really wanted to, but Mazda's focusing on a different direction right now, which I personally love. However, I love motorsport. And, well, sometimes you gotta put a vehicle in scenarios like that to just fully test what it's capable of. So, here, I live in Vancouver. There is a track that's locally. It's called Mission Raceway. It's okay, but the track is it's designed for higher speed cars and cars with really good brakes because there's a lot of streets and there's a lot of tight corners. So you're going real fast and you're braking. And then you're going real fast and you're braking again. The track just doesn't really flow. And because of that, I decided not to take it to Mission, but rather to the Ridge in Shelton, Washington. It's about 3-4 hours away. Honestly, the drive was fine. There's traffic along the way, but hey, you know what? This Mazda 3 is a very, very comfortable vehicle for us to do that. So I had no complaints. When I got to the track, we had our driver's meeting. We had our things that we needed to do to really understand exactly, what the track day consists of. If you're interested in track days within this area, like Washington or Vancouver-ish area, do check out the link. I'll leave it in the comment section below, so that way you're able to check it out. Kelson hosts amazing track days and a great organizer. Very, very safe events. 3 different groups of different levels of drivers as well as levels of cars. I mean, on the track, we had Huracans, F430 Scuderias. We had Porsche 911s, a lot of Porsche 911s, from a turbo to GT3, a regular Carrera. There was even a 996, like every single sort of car. But there was only one there that was completely stock on all season tires, and it was this. I was in Group C because, well, this car is not really capable of much more than that. And of course, being a more or less a novice myself, I was just placed in Group C. But, there are still a lot of fast cars. There's GR86. There was actually a 430 that was in Group C as well. But it's not so much about the vehicle, it's about driver skill. But anyways, I digress. I had a lot of fun out there, I'm not gonna lie. And I learned a lot more about the car than I would if I was on the street. I thought this is super capable on the street. I'm not saying it's not on the track, but there was definitely things that it could improve on. I mean, honestly, if I had better tires and better brakes, I would have much better time. What I will tell you is the automatic transmission actually does really, really well on the track. I left it in sport mode the entire time. I did use the paddles initially, but I just find that it was hard for me to hear the engine. I had the windows down and it was just hard for me to know exactly what revs it was. So I just left it in sport mode afterwards, and it actually was really good at predicting what gear it needs to be in. So there's no problems with that whatsoever. The car kept its cool. It was about 30 degrees Celsius throughout the day. There was FK8s, so Civic Type Rs, that were overheating. And there was an STI that has full heater blasting to make sure that, well, temperature stayed in check. But this Mazda 3, I mean, I didn't have the AC on or anything like that. Had the windows down, temps did not creep. It was steady, right dead center. So I was actually very impressed, especially because, well, it doesn't have an air-to-air intercooler. The intercooler that's in this is a water-to-air, which I thought wouldn't be as efficient, but to my surprise, it literally kept its cool. So it did really, really well. Power was there. No problems with power. I did put premium in it to get the full 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque from this little 2.54 cylinder. And there was no problems with power. It places power very well. The all-wheel drive, I can't honestly say that I felt it working on the track. The back end, while it stepped out a little bit, the traction control just kind of kicked back on and brought me back. It didn't need that all-wheel drive system to really help me accelerate out. And at the ridge, the lowest speed corner is, well, that drop that's near the end there. And even with that, I mean, all-wheel drive really doesn't help in that scenario on this kind of power anyways. So in terms of that, I didn't really see a huge pro or even a con. I mean, maybe in terms of con, just the amount of weight, because it did feel relatively a little heavier on the track. It's not like it's a super heavy car by any means. There were heavier cars on track, but I was limited by traction. And with the tires that it has on, it just, well, it broke away really easily. It just kept understeering. And it's not just in more aggressive corner entry, which I did have some of, but just throughout the entire corner, the vehicle just, well, it wanted to do more, but I was so limited to what it could do. Brakes were actually okay. The pedal did feel a little spongy after 6-7 laps, but that's really as much as you can do per session at the ridge with these kind of groups anyways. So, I mean, all in all, like I said, I had a really good time learning about this vehicle and learning about the chassis. It's set up really well, and I actually want to see more people take this out there. I want to see people put on better tires, get better brakes, suspension, and just have a good time out there. Because I think, this chassis is so capable. Yes, it has a torsion beam rear suspension. No, it's not a multi-link like it was before. But I didn't feel like it had any problems. Even during hard braking at turn in, the rear end rotated a little bit. It wasn't light. It didn't feel like the back end would step out or anything like that. The front end, it had enough grip for, the tires that it had. Just the overall experience was good. There wasn't really that much negatives to it. So ultimately, I mean, if you're looking to buy a Mazda 3 and, just having it as a daily driver, I stand by what I said, that this is a really good car on the street. But now I can say that it actually is a pretty darn good car on the track as well. But I'll leave you with that. I'm going to put in some footage of me actually going around track. I was actually following my brother-in-law in a Mazda Speed 3. Because of the temperatures of the day, I didn't get a chance to drive his car to do like a full back-to-back comparison. But it's very obvious that the Mazda Speed 3, I mean, the one that he has been modified. He has Cobb tune on it. There's suspension work. At least we think there's suspension work on it. And there's other engine mods as well. His car is definitely faster. His car has more grip because it has upgraded brakes as well as upgraded tires. But I don't think he had more fun than I did. And, I mean, that's what kind of lapping days is about. Track days, lapping days. It's about having fun and getting your car out there just to learn. Run what you brung. I guess that's really the saying, isn't it? In any case, like I said, I'll leave you with some footage of me chasing my brother-in-law in a Mazda Speed 3 and some external footage here that my friend Matt was able to get at the bleachers. I'll see you next week with some more reviews and other stuff. But take care.